Okay, go ahead.
All right. Welcome to GraceSoft's webinar. In this webinar, we're going to be talking about Airbnb and Google free links, and how this has been, changing the industry changes and things that have, shifted in the last 2 years, with once we all went into this pandemic in 2020. And so today we'll be looking at how we have been connecting with Airbnb and Google. And we've actually spent probably over 6 to 7 months of development time just going through these new OTAs, and we see a lot of potential in them, and we see a lot of people and a lot of traction on these two major players. It's a big concern in one of the conferences last year that Google is jumping into OTA because they already have a lot of the data, like maps data, things like that. But as of now, what we have heard from Google is that it's a free service that they are providing to the properties, and you can also do ads on top of the Google free links. So those are the couple different, can you see my screen with my slide, guys? You're seeing that, right? Learn how Airbnb and Google free links works.
We're seeing two screens.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's
now
good.
you should be seeing this screen. Okay, great. Okay. All right, so we need to cut that out in the video. All right, so this is, so let's just dive into it. This has really been a change in the way things have been happening with the major OTAs, like Booking.com and Expedia, but with Airbnb kind of really trying to wrestle the market share from other major players, and of course Google jumping in. Now we're seeing a lot more options for reservations. The other, so let's keep going in. And so if you look at this, the information, I just want to just give you some high level information about Airbnb. They have 5.6 million active listings, 4 million hosts, 100,000 cities, 220 countries, and 110 billion that was in sales since, as of September 30th, 2020. But actually, if you look at the other statistics here, then the first thing it shows, but during the lockdowns and the pandemic, during that time, Airbnb was able to make $1 billion. At least the hosts were able to make $1 billion. And this, so the second point is really pretty important, the organic traffic, because the thing is, a lot of the traffic that's coming to through Google has been pretty much ads. If you search for a property, or if you just search for a specific location, let's just say Houston, for instance. If you search for Houston, you're going to see nothing but ads. It's going to be completely driven by Expedia, Booking.com, TripAdvisor. All these major OTAs, major players are spending billions of dollars. By the way, Booking.com is is one of the biggest clients of Google. So they're spending literally billions of dollars. So the real property really does not get the high visibility. But what's happening with Airbnb, if you see this one, yes, can you not hear me, guys? Is it pretty low? Or I got a note from Brian that says, is the sound on? You're not able to hear me? Should I be louder?
We're hearing you fine. Brian, I think you might have your speaker off.
Yeah, it shows speakers off on yours. When I see your listing, it shows speakers off, Brian. Is anybody else having trouble hearing me? Okay, so it looks like everybody is okay. So I think maybe
I'll share in chat. There's a
Okay.
phone number that people can also dial into if
Yeah,
the
please.
not working. So I'll share that in
Okay,
the
yeah.
chat.
Okay. This directly to through Google is a pretty it's a pretty very interesting statistics because they're not doing ads as booking.com and other people are doing. So I think that's pretty interesting that a lot of this is coming directly to Airbnb, the traffic, so they're really unpaid statistics. Okay, then in terms of this new data from AirDNA data, it says that this is just about the traffic trend as far as now. It's saying this data is about like a week old. This AirDNA data. Sorry, let me go back. The AirDNA data is about a week old. It says like 49% higher this time than last year, 26% higher than pre-pandemic levels. So it's really a good trend to be. And then if you look at this in terms of the pricing for Airbnb, this has a link, and I will share this link with you. Can somebody, let me put this on the text also. So somebody can share that link on the chat. That'd be great. Um, this talks about the actual pricing, how the Airbnb pricing model works. They have actually two different models. So I'll just go to the website here. If you look at this one, uh, they have a split fee model where you can, the host gets charged 3% and the guest pays, 14, like 12 to 14%. So this is one model. All right. It's where they call it the split fee model. The host pays 3%, then guest pays, whatever that, depending on the market, it pays like 12 to 14%. But then they also have a host only fee. And this is kind of like what Expedia, Booking.com, they are, promoting that, right? And so it's a pretty same model like Expedia, Booking.com, where you're paying about 14 to 16% right here. So that's the model that they have, both models that you can follow. Okay. So and of course, you can sign up without no need to sign up. No need credit cards. It's pretty easy sign up from what we understand and what we have, from people that have signed on to using Airbnb right now. Um, and then so this is the host protection program that they have. This one I think is interesting. I think part of it is also because of a lot of, this is not so much in the news, but we've had customers do talk about, issues with Airbnb in terms of like, there was some murders and, things like that, what happened, stories of things happening. So I think that's one program that Airbnb has brought on board right now, that they have this cover, they have this host guarantee that, if there's any property damage, they cover them. And then also they have these are all like automatically pulled in. So this article right here kind of talks about that, the host damage protection. So it's how the reimbursement works and things like that. So this is something new that other providers have not done in the past. I'm assuming that other people will start providing that as well. All right. And we'll send this information so you can also see that. You can take that. If you look at the chat window, you're able to see the links that I'm looking at. All right. So these are other statistics, just kind of, shows that 42% of consumers surveyed across 5 countries that undertake more longer stay travel after the pandemic. Like I think right now what's happening is that there's more people staying longer. There's one stats right here. Um, the trend is that then the prices are increasing in terms of the ADR. And I think also there's also this statistics about this 58% of Americans wanting to travel, and 75% of people that are making over $100,000 are traveling. So it's a pretty good place to be at in terms of in terms of travel right now, to make up for what happened the last couple of years. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of what we are seeing also from our people that we're talking to on a daily basis, different industries, within the hospitality sector. All right. let me go. I think that's pretty much all I have in terms of the um, in terms of stats and things like that. In terms of Airbnb, I'm gonna have. Let me just see. There's yeah. So let me just have Sarah. If you want to take over, Sarah, and just actually go through the actual interface and show us how it connects with the the connection works with Airbnb, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about um, the Google, and then we can open up for more questions and answers.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of the actual connection and how it interfaces with Easy Innkeeping. And so I'm going to just show you a quick demo of that. So this is one of our customers' accounts, Easy Innkeeping Calendar, which you are all familiar with. And what I'm going to do here, so you can see it well, is that in terms of setting up the connection, there's really only a couple things that you would need to do. Of course, you need to have your Airbnb listings in place. So if you don't have an Airbnb account, you need to go ahead and set one up. We have links available on our website about where you can go for some of that information that Gideon was sharing, and what their fees are and what their policies are. Once you have your Airbnb listing set up and in place, then the only thing that you really need to double check from Easy Innkeeping is two things. The connection that Easy Innkeeping provides with Airbnb is it shares rates and it shares availability. And so it's only those two things that you need to be sure is up to date and Easy Innkeeping. And so you would want to just make sure that whatever rates you have already set up in Easy Innkeeping is what you want to publish to Airbnb. And then the other thing that gets shared is minimum nights. So if you do have minimum nights restrictions in your reservation rules, you want to be sure that those are in place. As long as those two are ready, Airbnb listings are ready to go, then all you need to do is you go to your OTA connectivity page, and if it's a brand new connection you're setting up for the first time, you're going to have a connect to Airbnb button right up here, and you click on that. It's going to have you log into Airbnb, and once you're logged into Airbnb, then you will get this option to basically match your Airbnb listings with your rooms in Easy Innkeeping. And so this is really quick and simple. You just make sure that you've matched the right listing with the right room. And once the systems are synced, you're going to get this green check mark show up here. And then the last thing you do is you just send the rates availability. And so that will send it over to Airbnb. And so if you already have an Airbnb listing, you may be aware there's two booking options that Airbnb has. One is that you could put a setting that you're going to approve bookings before they are guaranteed, and the other one is instant book. When you use the connection, all your bookings will be instant book because you're sharing real-time availability, you're sharing rates. We're assuming your policies are all in place, and so it's just going to provide an instant booking. So if we go back over here to the Airbnb side, and we want to search for dates, do a search here. And so this is the property we were just looking at, Depot Square Inn. And so all this information is being fed from Easy Innkeeping, and they'll review the listing, make their booking, and once they complete the booking, it's going to be downloaded immediately to Easy Innkeeping. And so that's it for just a quick demo of how the setup and the connection works. And Gideon, I'm going to give it back over to you.
Okay. And let me just, we're going to show Google listings. I'm going to walk through Google listings right now. But I think one thing I wanted to share about Airbnb is, I just thought I saw Christine. Yep, she's there. Okay, no, so I wanted to share that, um, we had an email from Christine, um, from Christian Marshall, and they had, requested some things on Airbnb that we used to do only iCal, and Airbnb did not allow this property room type listing that would go, be back and forth instant booking. So then she talked to somebody in Airbnb and connected me, and then that's how it really we were able to start working on it. It's really interesting. The reason I'm sharing this is that everything almost like, I mean, of course, we're always watching industry trends. We are always watching what's happening in the industry, forward looking in terms of, how things are changing. But also, of course, looking at our competition. But also, we're always listening to customers and saying, okay, what we need to do. So, Christine talked to somebody on Airbnb. I said, I've tried so many times to get in touch with somebody in Airbnb. We have never been able to get in touch with anybody, like a person on the other end. So then she got somebody in, and that's basically how we were able to get Airbnb going. So just a note about, how we always want to hear from you, hear what's important, what's going on, what are the things that you guys see that we need to add, and we, we have a, great development team to keep working on it. Of course, it doesn't come on time. I always kind of want it much faster than when it should be coming out. But would like to get feedback from you guys so that we can keep ourselves, in the cutting edge. Well, let's just move on to Google listing. I think Google coming on board was a major industry change, I think, because one of the conferences I was at last year and the year before, this was one of the major topics. This was the high tech, which is one of the largest hospitality conferences. And so Google coming in because they have every single data that you do on searches, right? So they have all this data. So, it's a concern. But from our webinars we've done, like Google's done for people like us, property management companies, it's a small. Actually, right now, I think there's only a limited number of people that are connected to Google, but they are increasing, as we on a regular basis, more properties or more property management companies. A lot of the stuff that we're doing with Google's, everything is automated on their end. So it's a little bit, it's not accurate in terms of, we had some issues where one of the clients had a, discount where they 7 days, then they pay something less. And so when we're pushing that rate, Google flagged it as the pricing was not accurate, but actually it's accurate. They did not choose 7 days, so things like that. So there's a lot of going back and forth with Google. But anyway, it's all up and live right now. So with Google properties, what happens is, you get free traffic. It's basically listed along. Sarah will show you in a bit. Your property gets listed along with the OTAs right at the top. In the past, as I shared earlier, anytime a property website is not at the top for some reason, it's like, of course, Google's prioritizing all these ads and where they're making their money. But now with this option, we all get to, as a property that's being listed with the Google free links, they're able to show you on the same map, along with, other OTA only properties. So that way, I feel like we have a tremendous opportunity here. And from what we hear from Google, that this is going to be free, free for now. That's what they said. I don't know. That means free later on, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, this is kind of a great opportunity, I feel, at this time, as things are heating up in terms of the market share. All right. Let's go. If I'm just, let me just look at this. I'll show you this one. Let me look at this one here. So if you look at this, how it shows up. So this one is an article where it just kind of gives you an idea of, how it works. But this is kind of where it shows, sorry here. So if you look at this one, when somebody searches there, it starts showing this map, and then you can see the map, and then you can click on it and go in and look at the different, the listings from Booking.com, listings from whatever, Expedia, but also you get listed as what they call as official site. So that's an advantage. So let me just go back to our screen here. And also, of course, Google Ads. If you are already doing Google Ads, you can also connect it back into the Google free listing, and that gives you better positioning. Okay, and we are not 100% sure. I know. I mean, personally, I'm not 100% sure how the free links and the ads connect. They have. I'm supposed to have another conference call with Google on that one. But free links is what we are live with. We, the Google Ads. If you already are doing ads, for certain keywords, you're saying certain keywords for your city, and then you're giving those keywords, that'll be running independently. It's not connected to the Google free listings as of now. Okay. All right, so this is kind of what Google's saying is basically 72% of all the bookings are happening within 48 hours of the last minute Google searches. So it's a pretty huge number of people that are just basically Googling and basically booking, last minute stays. That, I mean, we just did that. I did that last weekend. We had spring break here, and my son was really, he's like, I want to go somewhere. So anyway, it was just a last minute thing, so which I think all of us, understand that, and I think all of us are seeing that. So I think Google listing is a free listing. It's a great way to, be listed on it. And then here, it just gives you 70% of all research travel sites use their smartphones. 83% of adults prefer to book travel online. Amen. So this one here, this kind of gives you a full walkthrough. This image gives you a walkthrough of kind of, where it starts and kind of where it ends in terms of conversion. Generally, this used to be a OTA, it used to be, kind of dominated with the OTAs. But of course, with now that hotels can do the free listing, that gives us an additional option to be able to list it along with the OTAs. But one thing with the Google listing is that it's using your own booking engine. It's not, so what we do is we are pushing rooms and the rooms rates availability and pricing. Pricing is a big thing for them. They want to make sure that the accurate prices is reflected from the PMS being pushed to their site and the prices that they find online on the booking engine. So that's something that you really need to just keep that in mind, that the pricing has to be, exactly matches what's happening on the booking from the PMS and what's happening on the easy web race as well. So the other thing that's important to also understand and know is that we have to make sure that the booking engine also is very easy to use, and it has a pretty nicer interface, because once you'll see Sarah showing that. But what happens when people go to the booking engine, of course, from Google, they're directly going to the booking engine. Now you just want to make sure that the rooms are listed well, just like you would do an OTA. If people are putting their rooms and rates on the OTAs on Booking.com, Expedia, you put nice pictures, description, things like that. So now we'll have to make sure that their online booking also has pretty good images, pretty good verbiage in terms of your rooms and rates. So just what we're doing in our setup process also is we are making sure we are charging for a small fee for the setup. So we're basically going through and making sure that you have the right images, sizes and things match, and language and everything is there, that there's some description of each rooms, and so that we can make sure it looks nice when people are able to book online. I think that's pretty much all I have on this one. Sarah, you want to can I just switch it over to you?
Yes. Okay, so just to let you have a look at actual how that Google free linking, how it would look and how it appears. And so I'm gonna switch over here. We're gonna do a search, places to stay in Arizona. And so once we've done that search, this is one of our properties that's making use of the free booking link. And sorry about that. And then once they go over and they can check pricing and availability. And so if we look at this and do a search, and this property actually stays really busy. So sometimes it's hard to find dates that are open. But let's see what we can find here. 3-night stay, one more night. But then once it shows availability, okay, it looks like they might still be booked up. But once they find availability, and then it would actually switch them over directly to this screen. And so this is what Gideon was talking about, that it's going to bring them directly into, and so it doesn't even take them to the search screen because they've already put their dates in Google. And so it's going to bring them directly to this search screen. And so, I mean, this is a great thing, is that if you can, um, get this listing up, that it's basically a commission-free booking. And so they come directly into your own booking engine and book directly with you the property. So you get all the direct details, right? That's always the thing with Booking.com or Expedia, they keep control of the guest information. And so here it's like you get the full thing. So that's really great. And then I see Christine had to step out, but she was mentioning about getting a copy of the recording. So please, if you did not sign in with your email address and would like a copy of the recording, if you would share that in the chat as well, we'll definitely make sure that we send a copy of this to you. And then the only other thing I'll just take one more minute to show is just on the setup area again. And so very similar to the Airbnb, once you have your rates, everything the way they need to be, minimum nights. And so on this one, you're going to have a listing for Google Hotels under OTA connectivity. And really the only thing that you're sending again is the prices and the availability. And so same kind of thing with the mapping, very simple, easy to use. And so our team has done a great job of making this screen just very user-friendly. And if there is ever an issue that, something is not synchronizing, this is going to show up in red. And so, but most of the time, there's not an issue with that. So I think we've taken enough of everyone's time. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it back over to Gideon. And if anyone has questions, we'll give a few minutes for that.
Yeah, please, if you have any questions, please, can you just, you can unmute yourself and talk, or you can just type your questions in the chat window. Then we'll be able to answer your questions. I just have a quick question, also a request for our customers that are on the call, that, we're really looking for some feedback, even with a new interface. We want to really start pushing to close out the older one. I know, a lot of people are still on the older one because of stability, things like that, but it'll be really helpful if more customers would give us feedback, because we've been using that, and but we would like to see more and more customers start using the new interface. Definitely it's much better, latest technology, things like that, but we just want to make sure it's stable enough that we can start moving. So any questions so far? So the pricing for this has the pricing for the Google and Airbnb has been listed online. We're actually trying to really push it, because in terms of listings, because we have to meet like a certain number of listings in certain number of times. So we're trying to give a discounted pricing right now. So I think it's for, if you want to have both of them, it's $300 to set up both of them. But if you just want one interface, it's $200 just a setup cost. And I think most people already have the version that would include this in your subscription. But if you're a basic user, then it's $30 for additional for that interface. So please feel free to ask any questions or let us know, and then we'd love to see pricing is good through April 15th. You're right. And so we're just, if you're interested, the sooner you guys can get going would be great. Any other questions from anybody, or even any of our anything we should address? You can just type it in the chat window. Okay. If there's no questions, thank you guys for being on this webinar. We're hoping that more people will sign up on Google and Airbnb and take advantage of this offer. And of course, this new, the spring and the summer coming up was supposed to be one of the most traveled summers. So hopefully we'll have great business and be able to take care of our clients and make use of this time. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.